We knew that RFK Jr. was going to get confirmed because Fetterman went to Twitter and said that he would vote no on RFK Jr., something he would only do if he knew that the votes were coming in from elsewhere. It actually happened, folks. The worst possible, well, I guess I should say the least confirmable secretary has gotten confirmed. Dude is literally just rubber. Can you believe he's only 25 years old? Comedy's back. That is true. I would stockpile your vaccines, folks, while you get them, okay? Just have a big box in your garage full of, syringes. Hoo boy. Hoo dilly. The confirmation vote highlights the extent of Trump's influence over the Senate GOP majority. I do appreciate CNN pointing out that the only reason this happened is because Elon and RFK Jr.'s running mate, the billionaire woman, both said they would literally just primary anyone who voted against him. I mean, we'll see. I mean, literally, like, I don't even know. I don't even know where to go with this. My analysis kind of fails. Where the f do we go from here? Have they sworn him in yet? I don't think they have. How's chat doing? Pocahontas, because Elizabeth Warren was speaking at the point in the live replay that we jumped in on. Stop poisoning the air. Pocahontas triggered from Trump wins Cope Bishes. I love this inst even live. Watch Do No Pharma. A bunch of American flags. Pocahontas triggered. That's also from Trump wins Cope Bishes. And there seems to be some kind of emoji or emoticon here. I'm not really sure what that, it's like laughing, crying, but I don't know why it's purple. How does the power structure in the DNC work? It's very simple. When you join the DNC, you leave all your power at the door. It's very easy to have operate a hierarchical bureaucracy when all of you are dickless. Now, in reality, it literally does just seem to be like seniority based, because it's like, again, kind of Make-A-Wish Foundation for seniors, where you just, once you get into the Democratic Party, they'll protect you forever, as long as you stay in line. Also, this is pretty scary now that he's been confirmed. The planned Medicaid cut by at least $900 billion. We'll talk about that when we talk about that. Oh, and they're gonna. If you're poor, I got some advice to you. Stop. I'm Paris Hilton out there in this bitch. I'm gonna find that shirt and wear it on stream. I'm gonna find that exact shirt. I wonder if I could afford it. Probably like $1 billion or something. It's also not real. That shirt was photoshopped. It was stop being desperate was what it actually said. But it would be funnier if it said stop being poor. I need to get the stop being poor shirt. I would also wear a stop being desperate shirt.
From Arkansas.
Ask that we dispense with the quorum call.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent that our intern on the Committee on Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry,
this guy looks like a cartoon character,
be granted floor privileges through May 9th, 2025, and the CFTC detailee Kevin Webb also be granted floor privileges.
I know this guy
on the Republican side,
and I hate him.
You know the consequences of what you're doing. My colleagues on the Republican side, you know
what? Let's just watch this and criticize him for his rhetoric. Why not? We seem to be doing a lot of that lately, and my hatred for this guy is pretty substantial, so.
Democrat leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, the fact that we're here right now, that we're even here right now, voting on this wildly unqualified conspiracy theorist to trust with one of the most life or death jobs, HHS secretary, charged with protecting the health of every single American, should be an affront to every senator.
Not terrible to start.
And the millions of Americans that will be impacted by this horrific nomination. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle, I implore you,
really wish that he'd stop calling them colleagues.
One more time.
Making appeals to the morals of people without morals.
About this vote. My colleagues on the Republican side, you know the consequences of what you're doing. My colleagues on the Republican side, you know how dangerous this is. My colleagues on the
You have to get accusatory, man. You can't, like, they're going to do this all the way up to they're going to send us all to the death camps, and Schumer's still going to be like, you know this is wrong. You have to just accuse. They don't care. You're correct in that they know what they're doing, but by accusing them of this, you're still lending the implication that there's some kind of like debate or like an argument to be made, or like you're appealing to a set of non-existent principles. You can't do that. You just have to call them demons. You have to. They do it to you all the time. They do it to you. Republicans are constantly morally impugning Democrats all the time at every level.
other side. You know you are not putting your constituents,
spooky.
their health, their families first when you vote yes. To quote my colleague, the junior senator from Texas, just a few years ago, he said, quote, "We need an expert. We need a scientist. We need someone who knows something about health care heading the health and
appeal to technocracy is horrible in this day and age. Like everyone, it's like the most anti-populist thing you can do. The problem with RFK Jr. isn't that he's not like a super respected scientist or whatever, okay? It would be nice, obviously, if the head of the, you know, Department of Health and Human Services was an egghead, okay? That would be a good thing. I agree. I'm not anti-technocracy on principle, but you're making a rhetorical appeal. This is about like the American public listening to you. So the point here isn't about hammering in on how RFK Jr. being a maverick is a problem. That's what people like about him and Trump.
Human Services Department. Well, which is Robert Kennedy? An expert? A scientist? Or what about the senior senator from Louisiana, the chair of the Health Committee, and a well-respected medical professional himself? A few years ago, here's what he said. Previous HHS secretaries have had a pharmaceutical industry background, have been...
Oh my God, dude. This is... I would say my main issue with RFK Jr. is that he hasn't made enough money from the pharmaceutical industry. He hasn't connected enough to those industries. Jesus Christ, dude. Jesus Christ, dude. You're literally making his point for him. This is literally like pro RFK Jr. rhetoric.
State health commissioner, have run health systems, have been governors. Somebody who has had a background in actually administering the programs that HHS administers. I ask my colleagues, which of these qualifications does RFK possess? You know the answer, none of them. The question in front of this body today, is not simply to confirm RFK to run the nation's health department. The question before us is very simple. Which is more important to you? The health and well-being of your constituents, or blindly obeying orders, knowing full well the dangerous impacts your vote will enable?
So much conviction in his speech and posture. Yeah, really selling it, you know? Honestly, my problem with RFK Jr. is that he's not in bed with the pharma industry. It's like, it's so bad that you would feel somebody would have to be paid to say it. You know what I mean? It's so bad. It's crazy how bad it is. It's not just a qualification thing. You could say like, he's stupid. You could say like the RFK Jr. seems to have no understanding of the science he touts. It's not just a matter of unqualification. I would trust a random person off the street more than I would trust RFK Jr. Show the American public it's not just about you being a technocrat. It's that he's particularly untrustworthy. You know, I would trust any one of my constituents over him. He is particularly dangerous. He's a nut job and he got children killed. He has a seedy past where his closet is full of skeletons by his own admission. But no, you know, it's... I
plead with you one more time. Rethink this issue. This is dangerous. This is wrong. Very wrong. I yield the floor.
Under the previous order, all post-cloture time is expired. The question occurs on the Kennedy nomination. Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks, Ms. Baldwin, Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett, Ms. Baldwin, no.
Yeah. We know how this goes. 4852. Dress sneakers. It looks so empty. Oh yeah, no one in Congress does their job. In basically all C-SPAN videos where anything is happening in Congress, like nobody's there. They don't do any work. They don't write the bills, lobbyists do. They don't read the bills, their aides do. Sometimes they don't even show up. Why are kids sitting on the steps? Those are called staffers, and they're the only people around here who do any work. It feels like every time I see Congress, it's empty. Yeah, because it is. I don't think I could stand the indifference if I was American. our political bias is towards like inertial, stability. We hate change. Hate change. We'll see if they actually do plan on cutting Medicaid by $900 billion and SNAP by 20%. Because I feel like if they did that, it would just kind of collapse the country. Like, it would instantly turn large sections of this country into pathologic, And it would mostly affect conservatives on average. Maybe. I don't know. Probably. The House Republican budget resolution, the starting point for their giant Trump agenda bill, is out. Here's the best way of explaining it. They want to take food and medicine away from poor people. Yeah, of course. I'm telling you, man, if they also do that, if they actually do this, it's going to be like just tailored to blue states. There's no way they're going to let red states get this kind of Medicaid cut. There's also the fact that cutting research grants, shutting down FDA approval will destroy American medical innovation for a generation, maybe more than a generation, We're basically dark aging ourselves, like unironically. We're giving up on anything that even remotely resembles civilization building in favor of Silicon Valley and Wall Street speculation. Like, those are the only kinds of wealth that matter anymore. It's all fake bubble wealth on the top, No, it's a great century. I didn't expect it to be Chinese is all.
For me to introduce Robert F. Kennedy Jr., take the oath of office and officially become our Secretary of Health and Human Services. Just as I promised last year, Bobby is going to lead a great national mission to make America healthy again, and he's going to do it. I think he's going to do things that will really make us very proud of this day. Like his father, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and his uncle, President John F. Kennedy, Bobby has devoted much of his life to serving his fellow Americans in his campaign for president, and he was a very tough competitor. I did not like it at all. I said, let's get him on my side.
It still sounds fucked.
But in his campaign for president in 2024, Bobby brought together a coalition of supporters across party lines, and he really worked very hard, and he had tremendous support, unbelievable support, and I think a lot of that support came my way when we decided to do a little merger, and it was really great, and it was very loyal, incredible people. They believe in him so strongly because he's a fierce advocate for the health of our children and for the values of free speech, democracy, and peace. And people are going to be very impressed, I have no doubt. I've known him a long time. He's been a friend of mine a long time. Perhaps most importantly, though, Bobby created a nationwide movement made up of millions and millions of mothers and fathers and young people and concerned citizens of every background who want to end and this horrible chronic disease crisis that exists in America. He's absolutely committed to getting dangerous chemicals out of our environment and out of our food supply and getting the American people the facts and the answers that we deserve. After years in which our public health system has squandered the trust of our citizens, and they really have. They don't trust us. They don't trust anybody, frankly. They've gone through hell. There's no better person to lead our campaign of historic reforms and restore faith in American health care. Bobby's going to do it. The United States spends more money in health than any other country on earth, but we're growing sicker every year. We're not as healthy as countries that spend just a fraction of what we spend, so there's something wrong. He's going to figure it out. In recent,
are you guys ready for like the simultaneous 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. punch of like Medicaid getting cut, SNAP benefits getting cut, vaccine scheduling being delisted, health regulations on food production being cut? It's going to be great, man. I'm on SNAP. Damn, well, you're about to get Thanos snapped out of existence because you're dead. I'm sorry. That might not be true. It could be, though.
decades, we've seen staggering increases in cancer rates across all age demographics, including more than 40% increase in childhood cancer since 1975. Who can believe that? And an explosion in other chronic childhood illnesses.
Like autism?
Not long ago, 1 in 10,000 people, children, had autism. Now it's 1 in 36. Think of that. 1 in 10,000. 1 in 10,000. Now it's 1 in 36. Who can believe that? There's something wrong. There's something wrong. And I think it's something that can be found out. In 2022, more than 40% of children had at least one chronic health condition, and today nearly 80% of young adults do not qualify for military service, in large part for health reasons.
I think it's really funny how by far the most common chronic health condition is just being overweight, but they don't refer to people being overweight nearly as much as they do autism, which is both like not a negative condition and also doesn't have a comorbidity with 50 things that can kill you, you know? If he just came out and was like anti-fat ass, then that would lose him the vote, you know?
Think of that, 80%. Something is wrong, and that's why.
Is it true that food companies are looking up ways of making their food Ozempic resistant? That they're looking at like chemicals that they can put into food that would negate the appetite suppressant effects of Ozempic because Ozempic makes you eat less food, and they're like, well, we want you to eat food? That sounds like a conspiracy theory. That's why I'm asking, because I don't know if that's true. I saw a post about it. I haven't looked at it. If that's a rumor, nothing like that has been confirmed. I bet you they're talking about it. I don't know if it's possible or if they're actually doing it. It wouldn't be the first time they've chemically altered the food they serve to make it, like, worse for you, you know?
Immediately after Bobby is sworn in, I will be signing an executive order establishing the President's Commission to Make America Healthy Again. We have some great people on that commission. Chaired by our new secretary, this groundbreaking commission will be charged with investigating what is causing the decades-long increase in chronic illness, reporting its findings, and delivering an action plan to the American people. And it's going to be a plan that people are really waiting to hear.
It's
Bobby, I want to thank you. You've gone through a lot. It's taken great
It's
courage.
added sugars being put in everything.
Amazing, actually.
Fuck
and
this
call him
audio,
and say,
man.
you're going to be okay. And he said, I know, I really do. He's really been supported amazingly by Cheryl and his family. And it was very tough. It was a very nasty group of people that were after him, but he was tougher and he was smarter than they are. And that's why he's here today. There are very few people that could have withstood the assault, but he was able to. So I just want to congratulate you, and we have a very special person here to swear you in, a man that I think has done just, I think he's just an amazing man. As you know, his name happens to be Gorsuch, and he's a member of the Supreme Court in extremely good standing. He's highly respected by everybody, and I didn't know, are you two friends or something, or did this just happen to be the justice? Did this just happen to be the luck of the draw? What happened?
I reached out to him.
Did you reach out? Well, you reached out to a very good man, so please, if you would. Thank you very much.
This audio, I don't know how crispy it is for you guys, but it is wretched on my ears.
Oh, this has to be done first.
I'm going to make this a good one, right? Okay, it's good so far. Good. It's a 10.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution is obligation. The office. I want to begin by thanking President Trump for giving me this extraordinary opportunity, and I want to introduce my family and thank them for being here. My wife Cheryl, my cousin Anthony Shriver, my daughter Kik, my other daughter Kira, Carolina Shriver, Joey Shriver, Jackson Hines, and Amaryllis Kennedy.
Nobody cares about your family, bro?
And I want to thank
I mean, it's like literally the only reason he is where he is, right?
all of you for your support and throughout this whole
Also, speaking of chronic illnesses affecting young people, the fella over there on the far right not been listening to your health advice?
Your journey. My first time in this Oval Office was in 1961, and I came here to meet, or 1962. I came here and I had
What do you say? I'm saying he's fat.
Uncle, who was president then, where we talked about the environment. He was involved deeply, as we all know, in restoring physical fitness in this country. He challenged at one point during his administration, he challenged Americans to do a 50-mile walk, which I ultimately did, but I remember the day that my father completed his walk. We were staying up at Camp David, and my father came in after 18 hours walking on the C&O towpath with his feet bleeding and blisters on them. My father
Wouldn't happen if you wore a good and well-fitted pair of boots, by the way.
had one of his best friends was Al Lowenstein. And Al Lowenstein ultimately was a congressman from New York who was assassinated himself in 1980.
Skill issue.
And Al Lowenstein had started the Dump Johnson movement to get rid of President Johnson and end the Vietnam War. And at the time that he started it, people just thought it was a fool's errand. And ultimately, he asked my father to run for president against Johnson. My father wouldn't do it at that time.
I'll give you
He
this
asked,
much. Kennedys look
Gene
great in
McCarthy.
suits. Are you joking? His suit fits are atrocious. They're awful. I'm not getting into this. You're not baiting me.
McCarthy did it, and he joined that campaign. And my father ultimately ran, and Johnson then dropped out. So Al Lowenstein had succeeded. And although Al Lowenstein was on the other side now, running against my father with Gene McCarthy, my father wrote him a note, a quote from Emerson, where he said, if a single man plant himself firmly on his own ideal and there abide, the whole wide world will come around to him. For 20 years, I've gotten up every morning on my knees and prayed that God would put me in a position where I can end the childhood chronic disease epidemic in this country. On August 23rd of last year, God sent me President Trump. All right. And he gave me...
Yay!
He's now given me, he's kept every promise that he's made to me. He's kept his word in every account and gone way beyond it. I'm so grateful to you, Mr. President. A lot of people told me that I couldn't trust President Trump. I better get it in writing. And we did a handshake, and everything that he told me he was going to do, he has done. Right. And I'm so grateful to him, and I've told you before, I genuinely believe that you are a pivotal historical figure, and you are going to transform this country at a time when we see all of the indicia of democracy now in tatters in our country. We see the rise of the military-industrial complex, the rise of totalitarianism, these attacks on our Constitution, and this breathtaking epidemic that is disabling our people. President Trump has promised to restore the American dream in this country. A healthy person has
Self-reference.
1,000 dreams.
The entire point of RFK Jr. is like he's part of the whole, the classic Democrats would have been on our side bit. So he'll cynically invoke literally anything. Like, remember how many times he said my uncle would have supported Trump today? So yeah, of course he'll name the military-industrial complex. He doesn't believe in anything. He's literally a professional stake oil salesman. He knows what terminology like that means, who it's meant to appeal to.
A sick person only has one. 60% of our population has only one dream, that they get better. President Trump has promised that he's going to restore America's strength. But we can't be a strong nation if we have a weak citizenry. If people are sick, 60% of our people are sick, 77%, as President Trump mentioned, of our children cannot qualify for military service. And
look to your left, RFK.
We need a man on a white horse now. We need somebody who is willing to come in and has the spine and the guts and the strength to challenge orthodoxies, to stand in the way of vested interests, and to break institutions that have turned against our democracy. President Trump has shown again and again that he is that hero. And most recently,
like, what other solutions has he even offered outside of banning red food dye and no vaccines? That's literally it. Like, it's literally that. Because again, they can't do anything that actually goes after corn subsidies because that's way too big of an industry. people are just going to get stupider and fatter and sicker, and they're not going to be able to afford any health care. It's going to be great. The gap in the quality of life between America and other developed countries is going to rise so sharply in the next few years.
We greatly appreciate it. I called you the day that you announced the termination of USAID. My uncle started USAID in
My
1961
uncle.
for humanitarian purposes, to put our country on the side of the poor. It has been captured by the military-industrial complex.
Also kind of interesting how he's talking about this, even though he is the Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services. Almost like none of these departments actually mean anything, and their only job is to be loyal to Trump. You know, example 512 or whatever. Literally all of them in their acceptance speech or in their like opening gambit, the first time they talk to the media, they're like, yeah, we'll take some questions from the press. Yes, I do think God Emperor Trump is going to lead our country into a new era of peace. They never actually talk about their department.
It has become a sinister propagator of totalitarianism and war.
Oh, yeah.
Across the globe. And very few people understand how sinister this agency really is.
Oh, yeah.
And President Trump saw that.
Again, literally, what the does he have to do with USAID? Why is he talking about this? Like, it's actually extremely weird for a secretary to be confirmed, and immediately he's like, allow me to talk about a separate action, an executive order unrelated to my department that the president passed a week ago, you know?
And he stood up to it with a masterstroke. And we want to do the same thing with the institutions that are stealing the health of our children. We need a revolutionary figure, and you are that figure, and I'm very grateful for you for giving me this opportunity. I want to recognize some of the allies that I've had in this battle for a long time are Senator Rand Paul, Senator Ron Johnson, Senator Roger Marshall, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Buddy Carter, who've all been champions of the MAHA agenda before I even came along. I'm very grateful for you for standing strong. Thank you very much, President.
Yeah, I'm sure you're all familiar with this, but like the life expectancy gap between the United States and other developed countries, right now it's about 4 years. This is the blip down from COVID, and then our rise back up. But like, yeah, we've been down like 4 years below for a while. I imagine that it's going to start like rapidly moving apart, you know? Switzerland up here is at the top, you know? Buy the dip? Well, you got to wait for the full dip, okay? You should have bought right in 2021. Buy the next dip. How is the COVID rebound so much worse? This country is garbage. This is a garbage country.
Mr. Secretary, I'd like to ask, what plans do you have immediately?
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
He's going to be running it. He's going to do a great job.
What would you like to
That's
see
my
him do
plan.
first?
We're going to find out a lot of secrets that have been maybe kept from us, but he's going to come up with some solutions to some big problems,
Big.
problems. I think he's going to go down in the record books. I really have confidence. This group has great, even Rand has confidence.
If I could ask you, Mr. Secretary, do you plan to fire anyone immediately, or what are your plans on day one, which I guess is today?
Our plans are radical transparency and returning gold standard science to NIH, the FDA, and CDC, to ending the corruption, ending the corporate capture of those agencies, getting rid of people on those panels that have conflicts of interest. We can do unadored and unimpeded science rather than the kind of product that is coming out of those agencies today.
Mr. Secretary, may I ask, how do you address concerns that some Americans may have about the stance on vaccines?
When people actually hear what I think about vaccines, which is common sense, which is vaccines should be tested, they should be safe, everybody should have informed consent, people are reacting because they hear things about me that aren't true. They hear characterizations of things that I've said that are simply not true. And they hear what I have to say actually about vaccines. Everybody supports it.
Mr. Kennedy, Kara Kashinova from Lindell TV. What's your message to Democrats in the Senate that fought so hard to keep you from taking this position? And congratulations, by the way.
Gluck, 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 gluck. Only people that are going to be allowed in the press room.
President Trump has promised to be the president for all Americans, and he has said to me that he understands that there's no such thing as Republican children or Democratic children. All of our children need to be protected, and whether you're in a blue state or red state, I'm going to do everything I can to work with you, whether you're Democrat or Republican, to restore child's health in this country.
Mr. Secretary.
Great job. Great job. Thank you all very much.
Yay! Well.
Based on their treatment of us. It charges your Secretary of Commerce, your U.S. Trade Representative, and other cabinet secretaries to pursue that policy.
So these are staggering numbers, and this has been going on for a long time. U.S. businesses operate. So in some countries, they just won't let us even operate there. They charge us a lot, but they won't even let us go in. And we have many of them.
Sound fair, but when you understand how brutally unfair the world's trading has been.
Okay, it's all just retaliatory tariffs bullshit. That's great.